Heya, heya. I hope everyone's doing good. I apologize for being late, but you already know I'm always late. So I hope everyone's doing really good. I'm just going to give it just a few because I'm so late. I want to make sure I get you guys going with this. So again, just going to give it a few. And we're going to go ahead and do a very simple binding spell. So I hope you guys are ready. And I'm chilling on my floor because this is one of those places that you can do this kind of thing anywhere. It doesn't have to be anywhere special. So again, just going to give it a few. Hey everyone that's popping on. And I'm going to try really hard because I have my phone at a weird angle so that way you can see actually like the area that I'm doing it in. As you can tell, I have just a little type of cast iron that I'm able to use anything hot in since I'm using a candle. This is just kind of what I have up here in my bedroom. And then I just have something so that way when it gets hot, which the cast iron will do, I have something to put it on. So again, this is nothing special, nothing expensive, very easy, very simplistic. You make it your own. So I will give you my way of doing the binding spell. You tweak it or you keep it the way you want it. And yeah, let me get this instant out of the way. So let me just read. Hey, Samantha. Hey, Jody. Okay, so let me go ahead and explain what we're exactly doing today. So, simple binding spell. A binding spell is meant to be intense. It's not meant to be something weak of heart. It's meant to cause them to think about what they did without them being able to come back at you, if that makes sense. So initially, think of it like they sent you a jinx or they sent you a hex. This is something that you are going to do where you're binding them to themselves. So you're making them look at themselves. However, you're also hexing them with the possibility. Now, I'm going to say this very... Okay, I'm just going to say it as it is. You're hexing them with the possibility of it being a curse if the intent and if the magic that you're putting into it becomes an extreme. So this is a very basic beginner type of binding spell with the possibility of it being a little bit darker, or not even on the darker side, but just more of a justice style of spell, okay? So again, it doesn't have to be dark. That's your choosing. It can be a lighter side because you're using it for not revenge exactly, but more of a, hey, I'm going to get back what you gave back to me, and this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to bind you to yourself. I'm going to bind your spell that you threw at me back to you. Depending, again, on how you word your spell, word your incantation, what you use, the properties of it that you use, which if you're, obviously, everyone should be part of, which is Owl Exchange. I put up a little post of other things you can include in hexes and curses and jinxes that have more of a potent vibe, you know, like we always say railroad spikes are fantastic for any types of hexing and cursing. We always say, like, you know, cayenne pepper is great, ghost peppers are fantastic. Anything that's spicy, anything that's hot, anything that's pointy, anything that's sharp, you know, broken glass into, you know, a bunch of pieces. Like I like to use my war waters and stuff. You can use any of those also. It just depends on how you want to do it. But I'm going to give you the basic rendition of how we are going to do this tonight, okay? So this is a beginner style. If you ever want me to do more advanced level, which takes a lot more time, a lot more energy, a lot more effort, just let me know. But as far as tonight, this is what we're going to do. So, hey everyone. Hey mama. Okay. So again, simple binding spell. So what you're going to need is a simple black candle. It could be any size you want. I always like to use the smaller ones because, one, I can carve into it pretty easily, and that's the intent. You're going to need string of some form. Now, on my post, I said black or red, okay? Black because that's the most basic of a binding spell, is black. Red, if you want it to be a little bit more potent. And when I say a little bit more potent, I mean you really want it to hurt. Red as blood, okay? That's the intention of this. Or red as fire, which still burns and hurts nonetheless. So black or red, doesn't really matter which one you want to use. All on you. So your choice. Let me move this over here because I already cleansed my space, so I don't really need that in my way. Okay, so those are the basics. You're going to need something to carve. You can use a knife, or you can use, guys, a pen, a simple pen. This is a pen that doesn't work and hasn't worked in a long time. I sometimes use it to carve, and that's what I'm going to use. Basic pen. Something to carve this candle, okay? Now, optional-wise, you can use some type of, and if Kathy ever logs on and sees this, she'll see, but this is Kathy's ritual oil, okay? This is an anointing oil for rituals. This is meant to be a booster, so I know Kathy also makes all the elements also, so since this is a fire style of binding, because we're going to burn the candle, which is going to burn the string, okay, you can use also a fire anointing oil as you so choose as well, or any other possible, if you made a binding oil, this would be really good too. So think of that if you want to use a type of anointing oil. You don't have to. That's your choice. I like using anointing oils because I like the intensifying aspect of my spell. I want it to really soak in. I want their name to be saturated with the oil. I want this to be saturated with the oil. Now, be careful, small warning, don't use too much of it. You don't need too much of it. You just need a little bit of it, because a little bit goes a long way when it comes to this, okay? So again, it's an oil-based. This one was made by Kathy. She gifted this to me. But I know she also sells other ones too, if you're interested, just so you know. Yes, I love the letter opener to carve most of my candles. Yes, I actually have it's a really pretty knife that was gifted to me, and it has a dragon on it. I use that a lot to carve, but tonight I'm going to use this only because I'm not bringing my dragons into this spell at all. I'm actually going to utilize Morgan through this. So again, that's another aspect you might want to think of is, do you want a spirit guide in a form to help you with this justice spell or this revenge spell, again, on how you interpret it yourself? Or do you want to use your deity or a certain type of deity? Morgan is my revenge and justice all-in-one type of deity, so I will use her. I'm not going to use the dragons like I normally do, only because that's not the intended purpose for tonight. But yeah. Did I forget anything? Oh, matches. You're going to need some matches or a lighter, whatever you want. If you see me fidget a lot, I apologize. I had knee surgery not too long ago, so my left knee doesn't work very well. So getting down was a struggle as it is. So if you see me move it, I apologize for fidgeting too much. It's uncomfortable no matter which way I sit, stand, move. All right. Now you're going to create an incantation. You can create one beforehand, or you can do it on the spot. Your choice. But you need something to state around, like stopping them, binding them, gagging them, tying them, okay? Words like that you need to make sure you have in your incantation. It works. It helps. It's fantastic, okay? I will read you mine. Again, you can use mine. You can change it. You can edit it. I've used other people's before when I was just starting out, and then I adapted them, changed them, and over time, every time I do a binding, I usually change it up a little bit. If I know the person, I'm going to carve their name into here. If I don't know who the person is, because that is always a possibility, you can carve a question mark into it, okay? Because then the question mark is then going to be more like a search option for this spell itself. It's going to go out there and hit hit the practitioner that sent it to you in the first place. So question mark for searching, or if you know exactly who you're trying to bind, narcissist, an abusive person, verbally, physically, mentally, however you want. If you struggle, and I hate to say this, if you struggle with a boss or something like that, you want to be careful, because is that boss a narcissist? Okay. But is that boss having a bad week? So be careful, because you don't want to bind an innocent. because even if they are a mundane person, their words can affect your energy, so you really want to watch. But make sure who you're doing this binding for is a narcissist, or, you know what I mean, falls into that type of category. Someone that really did you serious wrong and is trying to mess up your life in some way. That's what this is. Don't use it for a basic, I hate my boss, they didn't give me a raise yesterday. You don't want that. So let me read up these comments, because I see I got a couple. Oops. Oh, I like that. It sounds like just a spell, not just a binding. I always assume that it just kept their energies to themselves. Facts. Without knowing who it is, can you kind of bind the situation, or is it more of... Oh, that's a perfect thing to bring up. Actually, you can bind a situation too. If it is a situation that has affected your life, like serious family situation, just whatever, write what that situation is in the candle. You can bind anything. I always say that a binding spell is... I'm sorry, let me phrase that. I always like to use a binding spell for who I'm trying to hit with it, but a situation would work the same way because it's all based on your intent. So that is actually fantastic, and I appreciate you bringing that up. So yeah, you can definitely bind a situation also. But for tonight's purposes, it'll be person related, okay? Yeah, that's a great question. Okay, so what you're going to do is first start this. So you're going to carve their name into it. Now, when you're doing this, think of who your person is that you're trying to carve. Draga, go. Out. No. Go. Sorry, my dog's trying to get in here. So write their name into it. So don't mind me. I'm going to move it up here. Who I need to bind. Now, the person I'm binding is someone who I have to continuously rebind. And why I say this is because this person has done me wrong over and over again. And I know this person does not forget about me. And how I know this is because we have the same former high priestess from years ago who taught us so much. And she still goes to that shop, and I still go to that shop. And we hear about each other because our high priestess talks about each other to each other. So, yeah. So let me put her name in here. And what she is to me. Okay? So, you're not going to be able to see it, but, yeah, it's there. Well, you might be able to because I got the light on here. Then, take your string, and you're going to bind it. You can bind it any which way you want. I always start off tying it first. Let me do this way. You guys can see. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie it first, wherever I want, and I'm going to start at the base, because I think of the base like chakras, okay? And then all you're going to do is wrap it. So it doesn't matter if you want to make it pretty, it doesn't matter if you want to make it ugly, it's all the same. But as you're doing this, your intention should be the same as anything we do. Thinking of that person, you're thinking of what they've caused you, you're thinking of how much hatred is in their heart that honestly needs to be binded to themselves until they can realize their own mistake and error, if that makes sense. Sometimes put a couple knots in there because, well, who doesn't like knots? I like knots. Now, when you actually go to burn this, like a cord cutting ceremony, if you guys know what that is, this is going to catch on fire. So make sure you have some type of plate or cauldron that you don't mind it, bursting into flames as far as like inside of it. okay? And me, I'm just gonna bind this woman all the way down again because I can't stand her and she hates me and I do not like her. And she's caused my life so much evil. And she's one of those practitioners that is able to go into people's dreams, and she has always been there, and I can't stand her for it because she knows how to, what do they call it also, with astral project herself where she is not wanted or needed. Okay, I'm going to adjust. Bear with me because it already hurts. Everything hurts. Guys, don't get knee surgery if you can help it. It's the worst thing ever. All right. So I'm going to take my anointing oil at this point. Just a little bit. I like these ones because they have the dropper. Oh, I'm sorry. They have the droppers in them. But just anoint it. Put a few drops on each side. Roll it. And then how mine's set at an angle, it allows the oil to come down onto the actual like binding ropes. So nothing crazy, again, just a little bit. Let it seep down, okay? Then always what I like to do is before I go and light it, and of course I would grab the one match box that I have, is sometimes you might need to light the bottom, like melt it to stick it, and then light it. So, because as you can see, like my candle's not completely like perfect, so yeah, think of that too. Okay, so as I'm get this part started, set that baby there, light this baby here. And I'm actually going to turn the light off when I see this. So here we go. Stop them, bind them, gag them all around. By fire, I purge the sound from their mouth. Remove them from my sight until the hatred is purged. Bind them, tie them from my sight. Stop them, bind them, gag them all around. By fire, I purge the sound from their mouth. Remove them from my sight until the hatred is purged. Bind them, tie them from my sight. Stop them, bind them, gag them around. By fire, I purge the sound from their mouths. Remove them from my sight until the hatred is purged. Bind them, tie them from my sight. Now the incantation is set. Allow the candle to burn all the way down. This spell, I've found, has worked anywhere from 24 hours of it taking effect to 48 hours. It just depends. Does anyone have any questions on this? This is a basic beginner one. Very simple, very simplistic, nothing advanced. This is not an advanced one. Trust me when I say I have advanced ones and they're intense. There's a lot of carving more, there's a lot of anointing, there's herbs involved and stuff like that. Let me see. I might have to, I'm short. No, no, you're good. Look at me, almost blowing out my candle. Oof. And if your candle does go out, you, depending on how your practice is, you can relight it, or sometimes you have to redo it, because there's a reason why that spell was blocked. And I don't mean you blowing it out. I mean, like, if it went out on its own. What makes the oil special for anointing? So, this oil the reason why anointing oils are so special is, one, the intention when the oil is being made and what the purpose of the oil is. So it's just a booster, the oil itself, to help you with whatever reason you have to, anoint a candle. It is literally a booster. That's the main purpose. But it just depends on the oil that you made it for. So like my crow sunback oil that I made not too long ago for you guys, that is a booster. That is a boosting oil. It's to use for, putting on sigils or putting on candles or into herbs that you're about to burn and release into the universe for whatever purpose you have it. Things like oh, perfect. I would love to do the advanced one with you guys. It's always nice, but I figured we'll start out basic and then work our way into that. I do a variation of this with salt around to keep the energy to them and stay protected. Oh, for sure. And I love that. I actually refuse to use salt for this sole purpose, is because I'm not trying to protect anyone and I don't need protection from myself when it comes to this. But I like the way you're thinking, and that's a really great idea for anyone that uses salt to help it as a protector. So that's fantastic, and I'm glad you brought that up. So yeah, definitely if you guys want to use that, salt's perfect. Just stay away from the pink Himalayan salt. You don't want any of that. Black salt would be a really good one to use, or just regular salt. Sea salt, not so much for this one, unless you are a sea witch. Then I could definitely see you using that one. There goes my leg again. I'm moving it. Okay, let's try this, moving this leg again. I told you, I'm going to be moving this leg like constantly. I'm going to come down on your level so I can actually read them. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I did a live on the Crow Sunback oil. Definitely check it out. I love it. I do red salt personally. Ooh, did you make your own red salt? With like cayenne pepper? Because I was actually thinking of, because we always do the traditional, like Kathy's doing, making your own black salt and stuff like that. But making like green salt and red salt for their sole purpose and stuff, I think is really cool. So that'd be really cool. We can actually make that. All the hot spices, yep, because red salt is very spicy, so that's actually fantastic. And they actually brought a really good idea up. So what do you guys think? Do you guys like I said, something very simple, something very basic. I wanted to kind of catch the string, but it's not made it that far yet. But it is a time, like, you gotta let it sit the whole time, so be careful if you got little kids around or animals. I have all of that. So I'm always cautious. So normally when I do something like this, it's this late at night and everyone's kind of like in for the night, except for me and my husband. I will have this stuff usually like sitting on my altar, especially my Morgan's altar, which is next to my bed because that's where her stuff is. And I will stay awake until it goes out. So I'll play on my phone, Yeah, I know they always say technology is really bad to utilize around, but very basic, very simple. Me and Morgan have a great understanding. So definitely look into, calling into your deity when doing it. If so, Morgan's always with me, so I don't actually have to incorporate her as far as like in my incantation. But it's always great if that's what your deity or patroness or patron asks of you. Mine just doesn't need it. So if you work with Morgan, if you're like me, you'll understand what I mean when I say that. I know Sarah knows exactly what I say. We don't have to bring her in. She doesn't go away. She's always there. She's the bossy one. Let me see. simple is sometimes all you need. Yes. You should do a live for it. I will so watch. I really like this one a lot. Simpler for me. Oh, I'm glad. And yeah, I think I'm actually going to bring that up in our Crone chat. Because red salt, I don't know why I never thought of it, because not a lot of people actually know about it. And I actually just learned about green salt, which is great for prosperity and money spells. I never even thought to say, hey, let's make green salt, which is basically herb-based salt. Like the green herbs, I should say, like raspberry leaf and blueberry leaf, strawberry leaf, and lotus leaves also. Then again, there's the other properties too. There's just so much. I mean, there's just so much I want to bring. Great spell. I have not done one before, so this beginner spell is great to start. Yay! I would also be interested in more of an advanced one for the future when you're ready. Oh, for sure. You already know. I got that already set in my book. It's already set, girl. That reminds me, I need to get more thin candles, and totally will be fun. I never heard of red and green before. I'm so definitely interested. I know. Like I said, green is news for me, but red, I know red because that is, like, Sherry said, very spicy, and it's amazing. So I'm definitely going to bring that. So, again, here we are. So, let me just restate everything you're going to need. You'll need a black candle for tonight. You'll need either black string or red string. Black for the simple basic of binding, because black is very, very binding. It's very shadowy type of color. I like using red because I use it for one. This is a fire spell because I'm using a candle. So it falls under the line of a fire spell. But I'm also using it as blood, as a revenge thing, this is a payback for you. But you can also look at it as a justice thing, because this spell does not have to be dark in any way, shape, or form. This can just be, hey, you did me wrong. Now you need to pay the price. Simple as that. You can optionally use anointing oil if you so choose. Remember, the anointing oil is more so as a booster for you. You're going to need something to carve someone's name into, or a question mark in it, or a situation, because I really like that, or a situation in general. Make sure you cleanse your space, have an incantation ready, or if you're really good at making incantations on the spot, definitely make sure you have an incantation. I always recommend, if you're doing a binding spell like this, to use the words like bind them, tie them, gag them, stop them, okay, in your incantation, because that's what you're doing. You're binding them. You're gagging words out of their mouth. You're tying them, okay? You're trying to stop them from what they're trying to do. This spell works usually between 24 hours to 48 hours, depending on, honestly, your energy level. And when you do this, I will say this, because this is one of those caution clauses. You will feel tired within the next day or two. It won't be anything crazy, but you will feel a little bit more drained than normal, because this takes energy. So when you're doing it right, and I'm not saying like exactly on camera like I am, because your concentration is going to be solely on this, doing it by yourself, or if you're in a coven and you're doing this as a one group binding, which is also great too, because that's more energies combined. This is going to be crazy. Okay? So just know, there is a possibility, and I'm going to say about 80% possibility of you being tired. I know, even though I didn't fully dedicate everything, but I've done these so many times that it's kind of just works for me. I'm going to be a little tired tomorrow. It's just kind of how it happens, and I'm totally fine with that. Hey, Sarah Lee. Oh, listen, Facebook's been crazy with technical issues with rewatching lives and stuff. I think I found a way to go around it, at least on iPhones. So hit me up if you guys have issues watching past lives. I'm going to show you the way I do it, and to watch like the old ones without it giving you like an error. Because so far it's been working for me every time I hit a live, no matter how far back I go, as long as I do it this certain way right now, but on an iPhone. I have variations, red, blue, green, and purple. That one is for 7. I choose the color purple. Oh, yeah. I didn't. Question. Quick question. Oh, your dish is, what is it? I love that. Oh, my dish? It's just a cast iron, pot. I got this at the dollar store, back where the candles are. I think it was Dollar Tree. No, Dollar General. I got it from Dollar General. It's literally just cast iron. I paid like $5 for it. And as you can tell, I use it a lot because it's stained on the inside. Oh, it's so stained. But I do use it a lot, especially this one. So yeah, just cast iron. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy. But I just like it because it's wider. And it works for me. So does anyone have any other questions? Again, I was hoping that my bindings would catch so you can actually see it. If you want to... I don't want to move it because, because my luck it'll fall. And then I have to redo it. I'm not about that life. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was a lot of fun. I really like bringing you guys like these very simple little bindings. I think next week, is it next week or the week after that? Very end of July, I am doing a hex test. So it's a very easy, old-fashioned, and when I say old-fashioned, I mean this is the stuff that they did back in the day to tell if you've been hexed at some point. And it includes a bowl, water, cold water, and matches. Everyone always likes it when I bring this to the table. My old coven liked it too. It was always fun to see, if someone was hexed. And this is the way to do it. I've taught many people how to do it because it's so simple and it works. So I hope you guys join me then, which is again at the end of the month. Put this in your guys' journals and your books. If you have any questions with it, hit me up. You know how to find me. I'm trying to think. Did I miss anything? Does anyone have any questions about anything? Like anything at all? Not just this, but anything. How's everyone doing with the group? How about that? Because that's a question I haven't really asked. How's everyone doing with the group? Are you guys enjoying the lives? Are you guys having issues with the lives, except for the watching part, but having issues with the live? And I know we brought everyone, all the different clans, I know sent my message to you guys about the 50%. Again, that's just 50% for the month, guys. So when I say that, there's about 10 of us that do lives, so we're only asking you to watch really 5 a month. So you have a whole month to watch 5 of them at your choosing. So I hope that makes it a little bit easier for you guys to understand. Facebook doesn't like us if we don't have participation, and it slows our group down a lot. So that's why sometimes I do have to ride you guys, and I promise it's not intentional or anything like that. I'm not trying to be bossy, but sometimes I gotta be bossy. Perfect. Yay. Some videos are missing, Sally. Oh, so let me explain with that one. So, the reason why some videos are missing is because that's actually my daughter's videos. And my daughter went through a phase. She was transitioning into her full adult life. And she just removed herself one day and took her videos down with them. So, there were old tarot videos that were done by my daughter Megan that are no longer there. There were zodiac and astrology videos that were done by my daughter but are no longer there. So there unfortunately are some videos that will be missing. And that's because they were done by her. She's good now though. She's slowly getting back on her spiritual path, but she kind of had to re-find herself. But we all go through that phase when we go from living with mom and dad to living on our own and having to figure out life itself and find her inner peace within herself, which, it's not always easy, especially when you have a mom like me who's all over the place and, she's got to find out on her own a lot of stuff. I'm an intense person, but I'm a lovable person because I always got your back. 5, got it. Good to know. Yeah, about 5. Like I said, there's only 10 of us. Some of us do doubles, but it's rare. So there's usually about 10 videos a month. So we only ask that you do about 5 if you can. Nope. You're good. I love catching the lives. I have a harder time with replays. No, you're good. And guys, if you guys have any questions, just reach out to your clan head in your chat group. Or if it's something with your clan head that you have issues with, just get a hold of me. If it's issues with me, you can get a hold of any of the other girls. And everything will get taken care of in a very timely manner. Not intense, passionate. Intense make it sound negative to some people. Fair enough. I am a very passionate person, but I will say this, depending on my days, I like to match energy, so I can be a little intense. And that's mostly when I'm back at work. I match energies, which, if you guys know, sometimes you have to match their energy for them to realize that they're wrong. So, unfortunately, that's how I live some of my life, is, part of my family itself. And I don't mean the ones I live with. I just mean family in general. You gotta match that energy. Right, Mom? You already know. Alright, well, if no one has any questions, I'm going to conclude it today. I hope you guys had fun. I hope you enjoy it, all of this. And I hope this works for you guys. Remember to put everything into this. This is one of those types of spells that you gotta go full force on it. These are also the types of spells, which I guess I should have said this in the first place. These are those types of spells also that people pay for from other practitioners. That's how intense sometimes it can be. So, like, if you have the mundane people or the people that don't know how to do anything themselves as far as, like, spells, like, it's just not who they are to do them, but they want the spell done for them. This is one of those ones. They'll usually have an ex or some type of stalker or a narcissist, and they will pay a very advanced level practitioner to do the advanced version of this, but this nonetheless. As you can see, this is, the beginner, but the advanced level, people do pay for this. So keep that in mind also. What you're doing has to be full force. It has to be 100% focused. Try and keep all distractions away from you. I prefer doing it at night. You can do it on a full moon or a new moon, waning, waxing. It does not matter. I don't utilize the astrology aspect of it. I just like doing it at night, 1, because it's a candle, and 2, I seem to focus better at night when I'm doing this. I do a lot of my healing stuff in the daytime, but I do a lot of my justice and revenge stuff at night, if that makes sense. But again, do it your own way. Make it you. Alright, well, I'm so glad you guys all joined me. I'm really happy that you guys enjoyed this. I cannot wait to show you the next one, our very simple hex test. So I will see you guys there. Have a great rest of the night. I missed you guys, and I can't wait to see you guys later. Bye!